Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I wanted to share an insight that I've been having recently around the idea of burning out around our goals and what I have found to be a pretty effective antidote for burnout. And that's the idea of what I keep calling in my head, letting my goals breathe. And what that means to me is giving them a little bit more time and space. One of my goals for the year is to really fall in love with working out again. I used to really love it, and I've had phases of being so committed to it and consistent with it. And then I've had phases of falling off the wagon. And recently it's been a longer than usual dry spell, and I do miss it. And I also recognize what we've all heard many times in the personal growth world, that how good exercise really is for you. And so for a lot of reasons, I've been wanting to incorporate it back in, and I made it one of my monthly goals this year to fall back in love with it, right? And in typical gung-ho New Year's fashion, I tried to start all cylinders blasting and it didn't work, surprisingly enough. I'm being sarcastic, but it didn't work. And what I started to realize when I gave myself a little bit of quiet time, contemplation, meditation, I really turned it over in my head. What I started to realize is I had one other priority that was a much bigger priority to me, namely creating content for my channel here, that I needed the space for after I came home from work in the evenings. And that was when I was trying to work out. So I noticed in January that I wasn't creating content, which is my number one priority, because I was trying to squeeze in the workouts. So I didn't love that. And then I also started asking myself, what would I be doing if I could be doing it any way I wanted? Like, how would it look ideally in my head? And I realized I'd be doing it in the morning, like before work, before I've put on the fancy outfit and the makeup, get a good sweat session in, and that just gets your body feeling great, your blood pumping, it gets your mind focused going into an 8-hour, sometimes more, work day. But the problem was I also have gotten into the bad habit of staying up too late and then waking up just early enough to get to work on time, but not early enough to work out in the morning. So what started to emerge is that instead of rushing back into it, a yearly goal of falling back in love with working out, instead of rushing back into it and burning out, my intuition, I really felt the hit to create the space in the morning first, which means start going to bed earlier, start getting up earlier, getting up earlier because I want to, something I genuinely want to do in the morning. So creating that space. And sooner or later, when that became a habit and I had that block of time in the morning, I just feel like I would start working out again. Because I've done it before and I've loved it, it just is taking longer to bring back in now. So that's one example of letting the goal breathe. It's a goal I've set over 12 months. There's no reason that I need to lock it down in the first 4 weeks of the year. And it's creating the space for my goal to manifest exactly the way I envision it, which is to do the workout, get a good sweat session in the morning. And in order to allow that goal to blossom and bloom in that part of my life, in my mornings, I need to create my mornings. I need to create the space and the time. So that's one way. I've accepted it might take a couple months or a handful of months, but I really do feel like if I were to do it this way, and I would have better sleep hygiene, I would have better nighttime routines and morning routines, I'd start having more fun because there would be more ease and flow, especially in my morning, as opposed to being rushed right off the bat. And then it would naturally just happen at that point because I'm holding the space for it. I have the intention for it. So that's just one example of letting your goals breathe. I actually think I'm going to end the video here and I'll share another example in a future video. But if you're struggling with burning out on goals, I invite you to think to yourself, is there anything I can do to add a little space and add a little time to my life to allow this goal to blossom in its own right time in the right way? And again, to give you an example, morning exercise is not going to happen if there's no room in the morning and no time in the morning. So I was creating that space. So can you do something similar? If you're experiencing burnout, how can you let your goals breathe? As always, thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day here with me today, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.